Hey, you. Yes, you. You have decided to turn on this video where I'm about to talk to you about one of the most important aspects of my life: trading cards. And, well, boy, do I got some fun stuff to talk to you today about. I'd say what are the top 5 trading card games I have ever played. So sit back, relax, while I start with number 5. Number 5 is a game that I played for a bit and I really got the hang of it. And that game is Versus System. Now, Versus System almost lost the 5 spot to White Schwartz. But Versus System just has a lot more flavor to it. It was really good. If you know what Versus System was, comment below. It was very balanced. Um, Everybody had like a very similar amount of everybody had a very similar amount of power they're working with in decks. There wasn't too much power creep, except for a little bit there was, but then it balanced out. And that's how I like. That's one of the things I liked about Versus System the most. It balanced fair gameplay through Versus System. Now you'll notice that the games I put further in this list, they sometimes they don't have balance to them, and sometimes the gameplay is very unfair. But let's just go to number 4. Number 4 goes to the Pokemon trading card game. Now, I mean, no disrespect by this, but it's just Pokemon. You get power crept so hard in Pokemon. I love it so much though. That's why it's number 4, because Pokemon deserves to be on this top 5 list as number 4. Now, Pokemon has had um some of the most impressive stats when it comes to resale value, but I'd say the most impressive thing about it is how well people who actually play the game get to enjoy organized gameplay. And this is why they're on this list, is hands down the Pokemon League. The prize support is absolutely phenomenal, and I'd have to say one of the most important things about Pokemon is the overall atmosphere. The atmosphere of Pokemon is a lot different compared to what's coming up on this list. What's coming up on this list, save for the next entry, I'd say it gets to certain spots. But the next entry being number 3, definitely has a pleasant atmosphere. And I am talking about that One Piece trading card game as number 3. Now, I may not have played this game for a few years, but I most certainly have delved into the how the ins and outs and the go arounds of the One Piece community. And there are several reasons why I can tell you why One Piece, the trading card game, is one of the best trading card games of all time. I'd say I went for my first tournament after not playing a literal game yet. And even though I had my ass handed to me, I still enjoyed it. One Piece prize support, pretty decent, pretty decent. You get prize cards. You get prize cards that are actually worth a good chunk of money. Um, I'd say about the gameplay. The gameplay is the gameplay is actually a lot more simple than you think it's going to be until it's not. But it tells you exactly how to play it. Each card tells you exactly how to play it, the mechanic of what you're trying to do, anyways. So it's really good and accessible if you are just learning the game. For instance, I am playing a deck called Blackbeard in the One Piece TCG. And that requires me to learn everybody else's deck so that I could play around their deck. And it's it's pretty chill. It's pretty chill. I love the gameplay mechanics of it. I'd say my favorite thing about the gameplay mechanics of One Piece, the card game, is that the searchers, you don't necessarily get hard searchers like that where you get to search for a single card. One Piece, the searching in One Piece is you look at the top amount of cards of your deck to the corresponding card that allows you to do that and pick out from that. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It allows you to understand what you have left in your deck. So at some points, you kind of understand what's in your deck and what's your opponent's in your opponent's deck. It's just so fun. The interaction in One Piece. Let's talk about the next game, though. The next game. There's the next game. If you thought I went on about One Piece for a while, wait till we go on about Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh my word, Yu-Gi-Oh! Why isn't it number 1 on this list? Because this is, in my opinion, games that I'm not ranking on my favorite per se. I'm just ranking on the interaction and how the cards are made and how the gameplay mechanics are. So I'd say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a step up on a more mature gameplay mechanic. I'll tell you one thing. Every time I've been to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, there's always like most of the people there are dudes in their 20s and 30s. And if you're hopefully, hopefully, a couple of them showered. Now, I'm not about to talk about like the bad parts of Yu-Gi-Oh like that, but like come come on, some Yu-Gi-Oh dudes, you gotta shower. Like even if you like don't like to shower like that, at least shower before you go to a Yu-Gi-Oh event. It's not that hard. But I digress before I go off on a tangent about something else completely. I wanted to talk about how I enjoy this game and the mechanics of it and what makes this game be in the second spot. So Yu-Gi-Oh is complex as shit. Yu-Gi-Oh gets to that point where you're like, what the fuck did you just do? After just sitting there while watching a dude solitaire out a board. While you're planning to solitaire out a board yourself. So, what I like about Yu Gi Oh! Is the puzzles. Because a lot of people see things as broken and unbalanced, but what I see is a puzzle to be solved. They set up an unbreakable board that it seems. Break their board. Think of the ways to break their board. There's several ways. Unless you're going first. In which then you have to go and think about, hey, how do I set this up to deal with what they might be able to interact with me? Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about intense interaction. Interaction with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the reasons why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a successful trading card game. There's three rounds of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a match. And you're allowed to side for fairness. So you just don't completely get pub stomped uh by a deck that just is meant to be unfair. But allows you to get a fighting chance too. Now I'd say with Yu-Gi-Oh! One of the things that has come with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the community. I find that with a lot of people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, you can find lifelong friends in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. And that's great. I've met some friends who have been my friends for a decade now. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is great. But I can't just like go on about Yu-Gi-Oh! For the entirety of the rest of the video. No. I have to talk about one more thing. Magic the Gathering. So, Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering was a game that I had always wanted to play when I was a kid, but I didn't necessarily want to get into it like it that. But I probably should have because it's a great game. It's a great game, and that's why it's first on this list. So, Magic the Gathering, what got me heavily into it for the first time was doing a co op at the card shop where I was getting credits through working at a card shop, working at one of my local card game stores. And the owner the owner wanted me to play Magic the Gathering. And this is why this is first on the list, by the way, because I was a complete beginner at this point in time. I paid less than $50 to make a standard deck of just things I wanted to make. And I came in 8th place out of 32 people in my first Friday Night Magic. If that ain't accessibility, I'm not sure what it is. Like, that's some fun shit right there. And I was playing around not the Battle for Zendikar format, just when Oath of the Gatewatch was about to come out. That's when I was playing the first time. And I was able to just chill right in there. It was so beautiful. Now, Magic the Gathering, you're able to make lifelong friends there too. I've, of course, made lifelong friends through Magic the Gathering. Now, here is the most important reason of why this is number one on the list. And why this is number one on the list is the variety of Magic the Gathering formats that you're allowed to play and constructed. Oh my word. Standard rotates out and it gets kind of bleh. Modern Modern is fun. Modern is the fun format where you can just make a full deck of 60 cards and play with your friends and enjoy a nice classic game of Magic the Gathering. Now, my favorite format, however, I've talked about so much on this channel, and I can't wait for the day where I get to collab and fucking play Magic the Gathering with other YouTubers. Because I would love to play Commander with some YouTubers. And yeah, Commander. Commander is one of the most unique formats of any game I have ever played. Commander is a format that allows you to pick one card who is the head of your deck that you're allowed to play at any point for its mana cost. And every time it dies, it goes right back to that zone, and you can play it for one more mana. But you're also making a deck of a bunch of lands and single copies of each card in a 99 card deck. And why it's one of the most unique formats is because everybody, unless they're just hard copying a competitive EDH profile, they each have their own unique commander decks. And it's absolutely fantastic. There's also formats that are more accessible for budget players, like Pauper and Pauper Commander. Some of the most accessible formats in Magic the Gathering. Now, thank you very much for sitting through my card game rant where I go through my top five. This doesn't have to be the top five, but it probably is the top five Minus probably Versus System. Versus System is outdated, and I guess not too many people vibe with that anymore. But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to drink your water because that is important. You saw me set one up. Did you think I wasn't gonna take it?